The dim glow of the starship's control panel bathed the room in a soft blue light. Liam, a young and relatively unknown crew member aboard the Eclipse Vanguard, sat slumped in his chair, staring at the blinking alert on his screen. He wasn't supposed to be here. This late-night shift was meant for someone higher up the chain of command. But when duty called, even the lowest-ranking personnel had to step up. Liam sighed, running a hand through his short brown hair. His mind wandered back to earlier that day when Captain Hargrove had summoned him to the bridge. It wasn't unusual for junior officers like Liam to receive orders, but what happened next still felt surreal. "Liam," Captain Hargrove had said, his voice steady but carrying an edge of urgency. "Effective immediately, you're being promoted to captain." Liam blinked, sure he'd misheard. "Sir? Me? But I'm just... You're all we've got." Hargrove interrupted, his tone firm yet tinged with regret. "Command HQ has recalled every senior officer for reassignment. You're the highest-ranking person left on this ship." Before Liam could protest further, Hargrove handed him a data tablet filled with mission details and codes of conduct. Then, without another word, the former captain boarded a shuttle and departed, leaving Liam alone with the weight of leadership thrust upon him. Now, hours later, Liam found himself sitting in the captain's seat, trying to process everything. The Eclipse Vanguard was no ordinary starship. It housed some of the most skilled warriors from across the galaxy. Warriors who were not human. Each one brought unique abilities and strengths, making them formidable allies, and potentially intimidating subordinates. As if on cue, the doors to the bridge slid open with a quiet hiss. In walked 3 members of the alien crew, their presence commanding immediate attention. First came Arya, a tall, slender being with shimmering silver skin and eyes that glowed faintly green. She moved with grace, her long strides silent despite the metallic floor beneath her feet. Beside her stood Kale, a hulking figure covered in dark, armored scales. His piercing yellow gaze scanned the room as though assessing every detail. Bringing up the rear was Tarek, whose translucent wings fluttered softly behind him, casting faint shadows on the walls. Liam swallowed hard. These weren't just any crew members. They were legends among the fleet. Their reputations preceded them, stories of their bravery and prowess whispered in awe by everyone who served alongside them. And now, they answered to him. Arya stepped forward, her expression unreadable. "Captain," she said, her melodic voice filling the silence. "We heard about your promotion. Congratulations." Kale crossed his arms over his chest, his deep rumble joining the conversation. "You're awfully young for this role, aren't you?" Tarek tilted his head, studying Liam with curiosity. "Age doesn't matter if he can lead," he chimed in, his tone lighter than Kale's but equally probing. Liam straightened in his seat, forcing himself to meet their gazes. "I may be new to this position," he began, his voice wavering slightly before steadying. "But I won't let you down. We have a mission, and I intend to see it through." Arya raised an eyebrow, clearly skeptical. "We'll see how well you handle yourself under pressure. This isn't going to be easy." Kale snorted. "Pressure is putting it lightly. Our last mission nearly got us killed." Tarek nodded solemnly. "And our enemies are only getting stronger." Liam felt a knot tighten in his stomach. They weren't wrong, the stakes were high, and failure wasn't an option. Yet, amidst the doubt and scrutiny, something stirred within him. A spark of determination. If these incredible beings could trust him enough to follow his lead, then maybe, just maybe, he could rise to the occasion. For now, all he could do was take it one step at a time. Starting with earning their respect. The next morning, or what passed for morning aboard the Eclipse Vanguard, Liam stood in the briefing room, staring at the holographic display hovering above the table. The mission briefing blinked ominously before him, detailing their objective: to intercept a rogue faction of space pirates who had been raiding supply convoys near the edge of Federation territory. It wasn't just about stopping them, it was about sending a message. The Federation couldn't afford to appear weak, especially with tensions rising between neighboring star systems. Behind him, the alien warriors filed into the room, taking their seats without a sound. Arya settled gracefully into a chair, her glowing eyes fixed on the projection. Kale leaned against the wall, his arms crossed and his scaly brow furrowed in thought. Tarek perched lightly on the edge of his seat, his wings folding neatly behind him as he listened intently. Their presence was overwhelming, but Liam reminded himself that they were here because they trusted him to guide them, even if that trust was fragile. "All right," Liam began, clearing his throat. "Here's the situation. These pirates have taken out 3 supply ships in the last week alone. We're heading to their suspected base of operations, a derelict asteroid station called Outpost Delta. Our goal is simple: neutralize the threat and recover any stolen goods." Arya tilted her head, her silver hair shimmering under the artificial light. "Neutralize? That's vague. Are we capturing them or eliminating them?" Liam hesitated. He hadn't expected such a direct question so soon. "We'll assess the situation when we arrive," he said carefully. "If surrender is an option, we'll take it. But if they resist—" He trailed off, letting the implication hang in the air. Kale grunted. "Good. No point wasting time with diplomacy if they're not interested." Tarek frowned slightly. "Still, we should be cautious. Pirates are unpredictable. They might have traps set up." Liam nodded, grateful for Tarek's input. "That's why I'm assigning roles based on everyone's strengths. Arya, you'll lead the reconnaissance team. Get us intel before we make our move." Arya gave a curt nod, her expression unreadable. "Understood. Kale, you'll oversee the assault squad," Liam continued, turning to the hulking warrior. "Your combat skills will be critical once we engage." Kale smirked, cracking his knuckles. "Finally, something fun." "And Tarek," Liam said, looking at the winged alien, "you'll coordinate communications and provide aerial support during the operation. Your speed and agility will give us an advantage." Tarek smiled faintly. "Consider it done." For a moment, the room fell silent. Liam glanced around, meeting each of their gazes. They seemed satisfied? Or at least willing to follow his plan. That was progress. Hours later, the Eclipse Vanguard approached Outpost Delta. The asteroid station loomed ahead, its jagged surface dotted with makeshift structures and flickering lights. From the outside, it looked abandoned, but Liam knew better. Appearances could be deceiving. "Arya," Liam said over the comms. "What's your status?" Her voice came through clear and calm. "Recon complete. There are roughly 24 pirates stationed inside. Heavy weapons cache detected near the main entrance. Be careful, they've rigged explosives along key entry points." Liam clenched his jaw. Explosives weren't ideal, but they dealt with worse. "Copy that. Kale, prep the assault team. Tarek, keep an eye on their movements from above. I'll stay on the ship and monitor everything remotely." Static crackled briefly before Kale's deep voice responded. "Got it. Ready when you are." As the teams moved into position, Liam remained in the command center, watching the feeds from Arya's helmet cam and Tarek's aerial scans. Everything seemed to be going according to plan, until it didn't. Suddenly, alarms blared across the station. Red warning lights flashed wildly, illuminating the dark corridors where Arya's recon team had been sneaking through undetected. On the screen, Liam saw chaos erupt as pirates poured out of side tunnels, firing indiscriminately. "Arya! What happened?" Liam demanded, his heart pounding. "We triggered a sensor," she replied tersely, dodging blaster fire while returning shots with precision. "They know we're here. Fall back," Liam ordered. "Regroup with Kale's team. We'll rethink our approach." But Arya shook her head, even though Liam couldn't see her. "Negative. If we retreat now, they'll fortify their defenses. We need to push forward." Before Liam could argue, Kale's voice cut in. "She's right. Retreat isn't an option. Let's hit 'em hard and fast." Liam hesitated, torn between caution and boldness. This was his first real test as captain, and the decision rested entirely on him. Trusting his instincts, and his crew, he made the call. "Fine. Proceed with the assault, but stay sharp. Tarek, provide cover fire. Keep those pirates distracted. On it, Tarek confirmed, swooping low over the battlefield, his energy rifle spitting bursts of light as he picked off targets with deadly accuracy. Back on the ground, Kale led the charge, smashing through barricades and taking down enemies with brute force. Beside him, Arya danced through the fray like a ghost, her blades slicing through adversaries with fluid grace. Despite the odds, the tide began to turn in their favor. Yet, just as victory seemed within reach, a new threat emerged. From the depths of the station, a massive figure lumbered into view, an armored mech piloted by none other than the pirate leader herself. Towering over the battlefield, the mech unleashed a barrage of missiles, forcing the team to scatter. "Captain?" Arya shouted over the chaos. "We can't handle this alone." Liam gripped the edge of the console, his mind racing. He had one card left to play, a prototype weapon stored in the ship's arsenal. It was risky, untested, and potentially dangerous, but so was standing by while his crew got slaughtered. "Hold your positions!" Liam barked. "I'm coming in." Against protocol, against logic, Liam grabbed a weapon and sprinted toward the hangar bay. For the first time since becoming captain, he felt truly alive. And for the first time, he understood what it meant to lead, not from behind a desk, but from the front lines. Liam's boots clanged against the metal floor of the hangar bay as he sprinted toward the nearest shuttle. His mind was a whirlwind of adrenaline and doubt, but one thought cut through the chaos: I can't let them down. The crew had placed their trust in him, however tentative it might be, and now they were counting on him to turn the tide. As he reached the cockpit of the small transport vessel, Liam paused for a split second to steady his breathing. He wasn't trained for combat like Kale or Arya, nor did he possess Tarek's agility or tactical finesse. But what he lacked in experience, he made up for in determination. Punching the ignition sequence, the shuttle roared to life, its engines humming with power as it lifted off the deck. "Captain?" Arya's voice crackled over the comms, laced with surprise. "What are you doing? You're supposed to stay aboard the ship." "I'm not leaving you out there alone," Liam replied, his tone firm despite the tremor beneath it. "Hold your ground, I'll be there in 2 minutes." Before she could argue further, Liam cut the transmission and focused on piloting the shuttle. Outpost Delta loomed larger in the viewport, its jagged surface scarred by years of neglect and conflict. Explosions lit up the horizon like fireworks, each burst marking another clash between his crew and the pirates. As he descended toward the battlefield, Liam spotted the towering mech wreaking havoc below. Its massive frame dwarfed everything around it, its weapons spewing destruction indiscriminately. The moment Liam landed, he leapt from the shuttle, clutching the prototype weapon, a sleek, handheld device that pulsed faintly with blue energy. Designed for disabling enemy tech, it had never been tested in live combat. If it worked, it could disable the mech systems long enough for the team to regroup and strike back. If it failed, well, Liam didn't want to think about that. "Captain?" Kale bellowed, spotting him immediately. The hulking warrior stood amidst the wreckage, fending off attackers with brutal efficiency. Blood, or something resembling it, dripped from a gash on his arm, but he showed no sign of slowing down. "You shouldn't be here!" "And yet here I am!" Liam shot back, ducking behind cover as a blast narrowly missed him. "Where's Arya?" "Over there!" Kale pointed toward a collapsed doorway where Arya was pinned down, exchanging fire with a group of pirates while trying to flank the mech. Her movements were precise, every step calculated, but even she couldn't hold out forever against such overwhelming odds. Tarek swooped overhead, unleashing another volley of shots before banking sharply to avoid return fire. "Liam, we need a plan, and fast!" he called out, his wings shimmering with exertion. "Working on it!" Liam shouted back, gripping the prototype tighter. He scanned the battlefield, searching for an opening. The mech was too heavily armored for conventional weapons, which meant getting close enough to use the prototype would be suicide. Unless... "Arya!" Liam activated his comm link, switching to a private channel. "Can you create a diversion?" Draw its attention away from me. Her response was quick and sharp. Are you insane? That thing will tear me apart. I know, Liam admitted, his voice low but resolute. But if we don't act now, none of us are making it out alive. Trust me. There was a pause, a heartbeat of hesitation, before Arya finally replied. Fine. Just don't screw this up. With her agreement secured, Liam signaled to Kale and Tarek. Cover me. When Arya makes her move, I'll go for the mech. Both warriors nodded grimly, understanding the stakes. This was a gamble, plain and simple, but sometimes gambles paid off. Moments later, Arya sprang into action. With a burst of speed, she darted from her position, firing rapid bursts at the mech's legs. Sparks flew as her shots ricocheted harmlessly off its thick plating, but the distraction worked. The mech turned its attention toward her, lumbering forward with menacing intent. Now! Liam yelled, bolting from cover. Clutching the prototype weapon, he zigzagged across the battlefield, dodging blaster fire and debris. Every fiber of his being screamed at him to stop, to turn back, but he forced himself to keep moving. Behind him, Kale and Tarek unleashed a barrage of covering fire, keeping the pirates occupied while Liam closed the distance to the mech. Closer. Closer. Sweat dripped down Liam's face as he ran, his lungs burning with effort. Finally, he reached the base of the mech, its shadow looming over him like a mountain. Activating the prototype, he aimed it directly at the mech's exposed core, a glowing orb nestled within its chest cavity, and pressed the trigger. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a deafening hum, the prototype emitted a surge of energy that enveloped the mech. Its movement stuttered, limbs freezing mid-motion as its systems overloaded. Smoke began to pour from its joints, and with a final shudder, the mech collapsed to the ground, immobilized. The battlefield fell silent, save for the distant echoes of fading explosions. Arya approached cautiously, her blade still drawn. Did you just take down that thing? Liam exhaled shakily, lowering the weapon. Yeah, I think I did. Kale stomped over, his expression unreadable under layers of grime and blood. For a long moment, he simply stared at Liam. Then, unexpectedly, he grinned, a wide, toothy smile that revealed rows of razor-sharp teeth. Not bad, kid. Not bad at all. Even Arya allowed herself a rare smirk. Perhaps there's hope for you after all. Tarek landed lightly beside them, his wings fluttering softly. Well done, Captain. You've earned our respect today. Liam felt a swell of pride, but also relief. They'd won, against all odds. More importantly, he'd proven himself to his crew. He wasn't just some inexperienced rookie anymore. He was their captain. But as the adrenaline faded and reality set in, Liam realized something else. This victory wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of challenges far greater than a single band of pirates. And if he wanted to protect his crew, and the Federation, they'd need to grow stronger together. The aftermath of the battle was a mix of relief and exhaustion. The rogue pirates had been subdued, their leader captured after her mech collapsed like a fallen titan. Smoke lingered in the air, mingling with the metallic tang of scorched metal and spent energy cells. The crew of the Eclipse Vanguard gathered near the wreckage, catching their breath as they assessed the damage. Liam stood at the center of it all, his uniform singed and streaked with dirt. His hands still trembled slightly from the adrenaline coursing through his veins, but he kept his composure. Around him, Arya, Kale, and Tarek worked methodically to secure the area, ensuring no hidden threats remained. Despite the chaos they just endured, there was an unspoken camaraderie forming among them, a bond forged not just by shared victory, but by trust earned under fire. You handled yourself well out there, Arya said, approaching Liam with measured steps. Her glowing green eyes studied him intently, searching for any cracks beneath his calm exterior. I'll admit I underestimated you. Liam chuckled nervously, rubbing the back of his neck. Thanks. Honestly, I wasn't sure if that prototype would even work. It did, Kale interjected, stomping over with his usual brusque demeanor. He held up a piece of salvage tech from the mech, examining it closely. And now we've got ourselves some new toys to play with. He grinned, flashing those sharp teeth again. Not bad for your first real mission, Captain. Tarek landed lightly beside them, folding his translucent wings behind him. Still, we were lucky. If that mech had been faster or more heavily armed. He trailed off, letting the implication hang in the air. We can't rely on luck forever. Liam agreed, his voice firm. Which is why we need to train harder, smarter. We're a team now, and teams don't survive on individual skill alone. They survive because they trust each other. Arya raised an eyebrow, intrigued. You're starting to sound like a real captain. Liam smiled faintly, though his mind was already racing ahead. They'd won this skirmish, but the galaxy was vast and dangerous. There would be bigger challenges, stronger enemies. And if they wanted to face them head-on, they needed to become something greater than just a group of skilled fighters. They needed to become a family. Back aboard the Eclipse Vanguard, the mood shifted as the crew began repairs and debriefings. The ship's medical bay buzzed with activity as wounded crew members received treatment, while engineers scrambled to patch up the hull breaches caused during the fight. In the command center, Liam reviewed footage from the battle, analyzing every move they'd made. He knew they'd gotten away with mistakes this time, but next time might not be so forgiving. As he pored over the data, Arya entered the room, her presence commanding yet oddly comforting. She leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, watching him silently for a moment before speaking. You're taking this seriously, she observed, her melodic voice cutting through the quiet hum of the ship. Liam glanced up, surprised by her sudden appearance. Of course. Every decision I make affects this crew. If I mess up, people get hurt, or worse. Arya nodded slowly, stepping closer. That's good. Too many leaders forget what's at stake when they sit in that chair. She gestured toward the holographic display. But don't let fear paralyze you. Trust your instincts, and us. Her words struck a chord deep within Liam. He'd spent so much time doubting himself, worrying about whether he was ready for the responsibility thrust upon him. But maybe readiness wasn't about having all the answers. Maybe it was about being willing to learn, adapt, and lean on those around you. Thanks, Liam said sincerely. I'm glad I have someone like you to keep me grounded. Arya smirked faintly, though her expression softened. Just doing my job, Captain. Later that evening, Liam joined Kale and Tarek in the ship's recreation lounge. It was a rare moment of downtime, and the two warriors seemed surprisingly relaxed. Kale lounged in a corner, chugging a drink that smelled suspiciously like engine coolant, while Tarek floated lazily in midair, his wings fluttering idly. How's the arm? Liam asked, nodding toward Kale's injury. The hulking warrior shrugged, flexing his scaled muscles. Healing fine. Barely felt it anyway. Good to hear. Liam hesitated before continuing. Listen, I wanted to say, thank you. All of you. What happened today, it wouldn't have been possible without your strength and courage. Kale snorted, setting his glass down with a thud. Don't go getting soft on us, kid. We're soldiers, not poets. Tarek laughed softly, his voice airy and light. Speak for yourself, Kale. I happen to enjoy a bit of poetry now and then. Despite Kale's gruffness, Liam could see the respect in his eyes. These weren't just subordinates anymore, they were comrades. Friends even. And that realization filled him with a sense of purpose he hadn't felt before. Over the next few days, life aboard the Eclipse Vanguard settled into a rhythm. Repairs progressed steadily, and morale improved as word spread of their victory at Outpost Delta. Liam took the opportunity to implement changes aimed at strengthening the crew's cohesion. Training sessions became more frequent, focusing not only on individual skills but also on teamwork and communication. Even Arya, who typically preferred solitude, joined in, offering guidance and critiques that pushed everyone to improve. One evening, as Liam walked through the corridors, he noticed Tarek perched on a railing overlooking the observation deck. The winged alien gazed out at the stars, his expression contemplative. Mind if I join you? Liam asked, stepping closer. Tarek glanced over, smiling faintly. Not at all. Though I doubt you'll find anything interesting out here. Just empty space. Sometimes, empty space is exactly what you need, Liam replied, leaning against the railing beside him. It gives you time to think, reflect. Tarek tilted his head, studying Liam curiously. You've changed since we met you. More confident, less hesitant. I hope so, Liam admitted. Being captain isn't easy, but it's taught me a lot about myself, and about all of you. Tarek nodded thoughtfully. We're lucky to have you, Captain. Whether you believe it or not. Those words lingered in Liam's mind long after he left the observation deck. For the first time, he truly felt like he belonged, not just as a leader, but as part of something greater. The road ahead would be fraught with danger, but with his crew by his side, he knew they could face anything. The Eclipse Vanguard drifted silently through the void, its sleek hull slicing through the endless expanse of stars. Days had passed since their victory at Outpost Delta, and while the crews celebrated their success, Liam couldn't shake a growing unease. Something felt off, a faint itch at the back of his mind that refused to go away. It started with small things, glitches in the ship's systems, strange readings from the sensors, whispers among the crew about unexplained noises echoing through the corridors late at night. At first, Liam dismissed it as standard wear and tear or overactive imaginations after a hard-fought battle. But when Arya approached him one evening, her usual composure replaced by thinly veiled concern, he realized the problem was more serious than he'd thought. Captain, she began, her voice low but urgent. We may have a security issue. Liam frowned, setting aside the data tablet he'd been reviewing. What kind of issue? Arya hesitated, glancing around to ensure they were alone before continuing. There have been anomalies. Unusual energy signatures detected near the cargo bay. And some of the junior crew members reported seeing movement where there shouldn't be any. Liam straightened, his instincts kicking into high gear. Are you saying we've got a stowaway? Or worse, sabotage? I don't know yet, Arya admitted. But whatever it is, it's not natural. I've seen traces like this before, on missions involving cloak technology or covert operatives. Her words sent a chill down Liam's spine. Covert operatives meant someone, or something, was targeting them specifically. The Federation wasn't without enemies, and if one of them had infiltrated the Eclipse Vanguard, the implications were dire. All right, Liam said firmly, standing up. Let's investigate. Gather Kale and Tarek. We'll need their expertise. Within minutes, the four of them convened in the corridor outside the cargo bay. The dim lighting cast long shadows along the walls, creating an eerie atmosphere that matched the tension in the air. Arya led the way, her movements silent and deliberate, while Kale brought up the rear, his massive frame radiating readiness for combat. Tarek hovered above them, his wings casting faint ripples of light across the ceiling. As they approached the cargo bay doors, Liam noticed something odd. The control panel beside the entrance flickered erratically, its display cycling through random characters. He reached out to touch it, but Arya stopped him with a firm hand on his arm. Careful, she warned. If this is sabotage, tampering with the controls could trigger a trap. Nodding, Liam stepped back, allowing Arya to take the lead. She pulled out a handheld scanner, running it over the panel. After a moment, her eyes narrowed. There's definitely foreign tech here. Someone hacked into our systems to disable the lock. Can you override it? Liam asked. It'll take time, Arya replied, already working her magic on the device. But whoever did this won't wait forever. Be ready. Kale cracked his knuckles, a low growl rumbling in his throat. Just say the word, and I'll tear the door open myself. No, Liam said sharply. We do this carefully. We don't know what, or who, is waiting inside. Tarek descended lightly, landing beside Liam. I can scout ahead once the door opens. My wings let me maneuver quickly. Good plan, Liam agreed. Stay alert, everyone. A few tense minutes later, Arya gave a satisfied nod. Got it. With a soft hiss, the cargo bay doors slid open, revealing darkness beyond. The faint hum of machinery echoed within, accompanied by the unsettling sensation of being watched. Without hesitation, Tarek darted forward, his wings propelling him into the shadows. Liam followed closely behind, his weapon drawn, while Arya and Kale flanked him. As their eyes adjusted to the dim light, they spotted crates stacked haphazardly throughout the room, but no sign of life. Then, a sound, a soft click, barely audible over the ambient noise. Before anyone could react, the lights flickered violently, plunging the cargo bay into near-total darkness. In the chaos, a figure darted past them, moving with unnatural speed. "There!" Liam shouted, firing a shot in the direction of the blur. It missed, striking the wall instead, but the act seemed to provoke a reaction. From the shadows emerged multiple figures, humanoid but distinctly alien, clad in sleek black armor that shimmered like liquid metal. Their eyes glowed red, locking onto the intruders with predatory intensity. "Hostile contacts!" Arya yelled, raising her blade. "Engage!" The fight erupted instantly. Kale charged forward, swinging wildly with brute force, while Arya danced between attackers, her movements fluid and deadly. Tarek zipped through the air, raining precise shots down on their foes. Liam stayed close to Arya, covering her blind spots as best he could. Despite their skill, the enemy proved formidable. Their armor absorbed most attacks, and their agility made them difficult to pin down. One of them lunged at Liam, forcing him to dive out of the way. He rolled to his feet, firing again and finally scoring a hit. The creature staggered, clutching its side, before vanishing into thin air. "What the hell was that?" Liam demanded, scanning the area for more threats. "Cloaking tech," Arya explained tersely, dispatching another attacker with a swift strike. "They're trying to overwhelm us. We need to fall back," Liam shouted, realizing they were outnumbered and outmatched. "Regroup!" Reluctantly, the team retreated, backing toward the exit while keeping their weapons trained on the remaining foes. Just as they reached the doorway, a loud explosion rocked the ship, throwing them off balance. Alarms blared overhead, warning of critical damage to the engineering section. "They've breached the core!" Tarek exclaimed, panic creeping into his usually calm voice. Liam gritted his teeth, adrenaline surging anew. "Engineering is our priority. Move!" The journey to the engineering deck was a blur of sprinting and dodging ambushes. By the time they arrived, smoke filled the air, and sparks flew from damaged consoles. The saboteurs had planted explosives near the reactor, their red countdown timer ticking ominously toward 0. "We don't have much time," Arya said, assessing the situation. "Disarming these will require precision and luck." "I'll handle it," Liam declared, stepping forward. He didn't know much about engineering, but he trusted his instincts. If he failed, the entire ship would be lost. "No," Arya countered, placing a firm hand on his shoulder. "You're the captain. Your place is leading us, not risking your life unnecessarily." Before Liam could argue, Kale interjected. "She's right, kid. Let her work her magic. We'll hold them off." With a reluctant nod, Liam stepped aside, allowing Arya to focus on disarming the bomb. Meanwhile, he, Kale, and Tarek formed a defensive perimeter, fending off waves of attackers determined to stop them. Time seemed to stretch endlessly as Arya worked, her hands moving with practiced efficiency. Finally, with a triumphant shout, she yanked a key component free, halting the countdown just seconds before detonation. "You did it!" Liam exclaimed, relief washing over him. Arya stood, wiping sweat from her brow. "Not quite. There are still more of them aboard. This isn't over." Liam nodded grimly, gripping his weapon tighter. "Then let's finish it." Together, the crew pushed forward, driving the invaders back until the last of them vanished as mysteriously as they'd appeared. When the dust settled, the Eclipse Vanguard remained intact, but scarred. Repairs would take weeks, and questions lingered about who had sent the saboteurs. As Liam stood amidst the wreckage, surveying the damage, he felt a renewed sense of resolve. They'd survived another trial, but the galaxy was vast and full of dangers. To face them, He and his crew would need to grow stronger, not just as warriors, but as a family bound by trust and loyalty. The aftermath of the sabotage attempt left the Eclipse Vanguard battered but unbroken. The ship's corridors buzzed with activity as engineers worked tirelessly to repair the damage, while security teams conducted sweeps to ensure no lingering threats remained. Despite the chaos, there was an undeniable sense of unity aboard the vessel, a shared understanding that they had faced a grave danger and emerged victorious. Liam stood on the bridge, staring out at the stars through the viewport. His mind replayed the events of the past hours, the ambush, the fight, the desperate race against time to save the ship. Each moment had tested him in ways he hadn't anticipated, forcing him to make decisions that weighed heavily on his conscience. Yet, amidst the uncertainty, one truth became clear: leadership wasn't about having all the answers. It was about trusting those around you, and earning their trust in return. Arya approached quietly, her silver form shimmering faintly in the dim light. She leaned against the railing beside him, her glowing green eyes reflecting the distant suns outside. "You've been quiet," she observed, her melodic voice soft yet probing. "Just thinking," Liam admitted, glancing at her. "About what happened? About how close we came to losing everything." Arya nodded slowly, her expression thoughtful. "It was a close call. But we survived because we acted as a team. No one person could have done it alone, not even you." Her words struck a chord within Liam. He'd spent so much time doubting himself, questioning whether he deserved the rank of captain. But now, standing here with Arya, he realized something important. Being a leader wasn't about proving your worth, it was about empowering others to reach their full potential. "You're right," Liam said finally, a small smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "And I couldn't ask for a better crew." Arya smirked faintly, though her gaze softened. "Don't get too sentimental, Captain. We still have work to do." In the days that followed, the crew of the Eclipse Vanguard rallied together to restore the ship to full functionality. Repairs progressed steadily, thanks to the tireless efforts of the engineering team, while Kale led training exercises designed to prepare everyone for future threats. Even Tarek pitched in, using his keen observational skills to identify weak points in the ship's defenses and suggest improvements. Liam took an active role in these efforts, working alongside his crew rather than simply issuing orders from the sidelines. Whether it was helping carry supplies or assisting with minor repairs, he made it a point to be present. His actions didn't go unnoticed. Whispers of respect began to spread among the junior officers and enlisted personnel, reinforcing the bond between captain and crew. One evening, as the ship drifted through a particularly serene region of space, Liam called a meeting in the recreation lounge. The room was filled with familiar faces: Arya, Kale, Tarek, and several other key members of the crew. They gathered around a large table, their expressions curious as Liam addressed them. "I wanted to take a moment to thank each of you," Liam began, his tone sincere. "What we've accomplished over the past few weeks hasn't been easy. We've faced challenges that would have broken lesser crews. But instead of faltering, we've grown stronger, smarter, more united." He paused, letting his words sink in before continuing. "The galaxy is vast and dangerous, and there will always be new threats lurking in the shadows. But if we continue to support each other, if we continue to trust in one another, I know we can overcome anything." Kale grunted approvingly, raising a glass of his favorite drink. "To the Eclipse Vanguard," he declared, his deep voice resonating through the room. "And to our fearless captain." "To the Vanguard," the others echoed, clinking glasses and cheering enthusiastically. Liam felt a swell of pride as he looked around the room. These weren't just soldiers, they were friends, allies, and family. Together, they were more than the sum of their parts. As the celebration continued, Liam stepped outside onto the observation deck, seeking a moment of solitude. The stars stretched endlessly before him, their cold light casting a peaceful glow across the ship. For the first time since taking command, he felt truly at peace. Behind him, the doors slid open, and Tarek joined him, his wings fluttering softly in the gentle breeze generated by the ship's ventilation system. "You seem content," the winged alien remarked, tilting his head slightly. I am, Liam replied, smiling faintly. For the first time, I feel like I belong here. Like this is where I'm meant to be. Tarek nodded thoughtfully, gazing out at the stars. Leadership changes people. Sometimes for the worse, sometimes for the better. In your case, I think it's brought out the best in you. Thanks, Liam said, genuinely touched by the compliment. I couldn't have done it without all of you. And we couldn't have done it without you. Tarek countered, his voice warm. Remember that, Captain. Leadership isn't a burden, it's a partnership. Liam absorbed the words, letting them settle in his heart. He knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would be battles to fight, mysteries to unravel, and sacrifices to make. But as long as he had his crew by his side, he believed they could face whatever the galaxy threw at them. Days turned into weeks, and the Eclipse Vanguard ventured deeper into uncharted territory. Their mission objectives shifted, taking them to distant star systems and unexplored planets. Along the way, they encountered new allies, uncovered ancient secrets, and confronted powerful adversaries. Through it all, Liam's leadership style evolved. He grew more confident, more decisive, and more attuned to the needs of his crew. But perhaps the most significant change was within the crew itself. Bonds that had started as professional relationships blossomed into friendships, and friendships into something deeper. Aria's icy demeanor thawed, revealing a fiercely loyal protector beneath. Kale's gruff exterior hid a heart of gold, especially when it came to mentoring younger crew members. And Tarek's wisdom and compassion served as a guiding light for everyone aboard. Together, they became more than just a Starship crew, they became legends. Stories of their exploits spread throughout the galaxy, inspiring hope in some and fear in others. To the Federation, they were heroes. To their enemies, they were unstoppable. And to Liam, they were home.